this and paste here. Oh, good. And then we gotta go back to here, and we gotta go to here, and save that. Okay, then close this. Now turn all these on, and then cancel that. Okay, so that is actually streaming. It ended. It's crazy. This is so crazy. Like, you gotta set up 3 streaming setup, and you gotta do Twitter last, because otherwise it ain't gonna work. Or you have to have it already connected, but then it's live, so then I don't know. Yeah, so now I'm live on Twitter for sure, and I'm live on all the rest of them, and OBS is only sending to one data source. So okay, so my new setup appears to be working. I got some kinks in how I get it all set up and get it going. So we're going to be doing a review of The Criminal Lawyer, and it's Bruce Rivers, Criminal Law Review, Criminal Lawyer. And this is just one of those effed up cases, and nothing I say would ever support this guy. He's already convicted, and as Bruce Rivers says in here, nothing obtained at this interrogation interview that wasn't an interrogation interview mattered. So they already had him. No possibility in this case of suppressing evidence. But what I want to talk about is something that is so dirty by police that it's not actually lawful. And Bruce Rivers does not pick up on this. So
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
There's Bruce Rivers.
You sign him a document. You download.
There's his ad.
Bust the main ring, and then they'd find your email in there, and then get a search warrant based on that. Kind of like.
Okay. I understand Bruce Rivers is not an IT guy. I mean, but I know quite a bit about computer security, and uninstalling an app does not delete anything. Not only that, all these social media websites like YouTube are all cloud. And all cloud means is a marketing term for not your computer. So every computer talks to another computer. They're all computers. Now, you don't think of your microwave as a server. You think of Facebook. Actually, you may not think about servers at all. You might not even know what a server is. It's just another computer. The name server means, computer with a specific configuration. A server is a purpose-dedicated machine, computer, that delivers responses to other computers. So it's a server because it's servicing many different users. So when you're using social media, there's no deleting anything. In fact, there's really no deleting anything on the internet anywhere, because everything's cached in layers. So like things get cached to like routers and switches, and now that stuff there is incredibly hard to get, and you might get some evidence through something like that, but that's pretty rare. But when it comes to your hard drive, especially nowadays with flash media, deleting something doesn't do anything. So trying to say that the guy was uninstalling the app to clean it up, I mean, it's a ChoMo, so man, whatever. But I mean, assuming that it's just a person and you're talking about law, there's no indication of that. I mean, Facebook is a piece of crap. I hate Facebook. I hate everything about it. I have, at various times, gotten irritated with Facebook and just uninstalled the shit. I have suspended the account thing where you don't delete it, but it goes away, it turns off. All the AI shit on it turns off. But, you know, uninstalling something doesn't mean anything. Now, they say Snapchat and all that, you know, you got these private end-to-end encrypted blah, 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 blah. Well, first of all, if you ain't ever seen how that shit works, it's not encrypted. Because that's how encryption works. It has to be verifiable. Anyway, so when you send shit out on the internet, and it is kind of crazy because this, and I definitely, where is he? So I do have to get into a little bit of the beginning here. So right here, you know, they're gonna sit him down. Yeah. Now listen to what they say.
That finally put this monster behind bars. Special
Oh
thanks to
hell yeah!
5-0 Patrol.
And if anybody's watching this, man, all I can say is I hope this shit hits the news in that area and plays on TV where housing for certain people happen to be.
For sharing the original interrogation clip. Jalen Fleer was a San Diego County Sheriff's deputy.
See, this is that shit where, you know, in courts, oh, officer said, well, you know, officer said, officer's about to say. And I'm trying to find the part. I want to make this short and sweet because I don't really, this dude can burn that dude.
County Crime Stoppers who received tips regarding the sheriff's quote-unquote lewd behavior.
Lewd behavior.
And here's the thing. You're in a high-profile position as a deputy. To me, with any of these kinds of cases, they almost always have a really decent-looking wife and something really decent going on at home.
Of course, in regards to the report that we're investigating, you're not under arrest and you are not being detained.
Okay, that's the part I wanted to hear. Short and sweet. You're not under arrest. You're not being detained. Now, his analysis of this is going to be real. Everything he says is money right here. But he does miss some shit. But at this point, it's impossible to know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about revelations way back here. So he don't know this. He ain't missed nothing yet. And everything this dude says at this point is money. By the grace of God, this dude thinks he's smart.
When you hear those words, you're not under arrest, you're not being detained, get the fuck up and walk away. Period.
Do you understand?
Yeah. Stop self-snitching. I just watched another video. I don't know if it's this guy or this guy here, but I mean the guy who makes this side video, who is actually Audit the Auditor. I believe by voice. I'm doing a voice identification in my head. Now I don't know if that's 100% true, but this guy talks and sounds a lot like Audit the Audit. Okay, and
Because the interrogator is acting upon tips from a non-profit or
yeah, see, that's Audit the Audit. So he says he's working with Audit the Audit. That sounds like a brilliant move. You know, if he wants to ever work with somebody who can explain computers, he should call me.
organization, she has to set the disclaimer that this interrogation is voluntary and that he can leave whenever he wants to.
But that's a lie, and I'll get into that.
He can even choose to not answer any important questions and can request a lawyer anytime he wants. But the
Well, and they get into that a little bit later, and I'm not going to try to find that. But him invoking a lawyer right now doesn't mean shit, and he gets into that because, and I didn't know this necessarily, but it does kind of play logically in your head. If he's free to go, then they don't have to stop asking questions because he said he was lawyering up, because Miranda hasn't kicked in because he's free to go, and all this other stupid shit. But basically, you know, normally when you're in an interrogation and you say you want a lawyer, that kicks in, you know, no more questions. But not in this case.
The interrogator has such a simple and open communication with Jalen that he looks at this interrogation like a conversation. Later on, he's...
Yeah. I know, I don't know, but you know, this is like an investigation. He is a police officer. I mean, how many times has he sat down in a situation like this in his career? You know, and I don't really give a shit. I mean, he did things that I hope God never forgives.
He starts to open up.
How dumb do you have to be? You're a cop. You know,
See, and I agree with him. But see, what he's not considering right now is they might have just played an uber Jedi mind trick. I mean, how many times does a cop sit down in this kind of situation? Right? So, really, you know, if they were really going to play this, hey, this is just an investigation, you're free to go, no Miranda's needed, they should have had an outside agency or internal affairs. But most likely they should have used even an outside agency to investigate him. And that would have at least gave him some indication that this is an investigation. He's the subject. I don't know. I don't really give a shit. As this dude puts it, he's ChoMo5o, man, in jail. So, all I can say is, I don't even play the little mini violin with your fingers, man. You know, people in hell want ice water. There ain't no ice in jail.
you know what you've been doing. Your radar should be up.
Open up about himself.
Football, baseball. Went to Grossmont College for a little bit. Played baseball there.
And there's only one reason for you to be dragged into a room by yourself, you know, with an investigator.
Really, as a police officer?
Worked at Dick's Sporting Goods before this, so this is my second job. Started working with this department for coming up on 5 years.
Just
now.
talking about the law.
Yeah.
As far as I'm
So
concerned, dude
baseball seemed
don't
pretty
even
important
need
to
a
you
trial.
back in high
baseball's
school.
fun,
What position?
Pitcher.
Cool. How's your arm?
Yeah, none of this matters. I'm trying to
Sort of
find
every once in a while, but I
the
haven't
part
played
where he
football.
talks about Miranda not applying.
I played softball.
Okay, that's
So I
right.
was, third.
And you listen to the friendly nature of the investigator. Just calm. It's like she's not intimating at all the seriousness of what she's investigating, which is engaging.
Short, center, and pitcher.
I may have missed it.
Yeah, down Hilltop.
I may have missed it.
And have you
Dang it.
always worked corrections?
Yeah, I tend to
Wait,
go out to patrol.
He was not Mirandized. I know that. He has not been Mirandized. Throughout this whole thing, I don't think he ever is Mirandized.
Stuff like that. So.
Okay.
But weren't they a little old for you?
Married? How many kids?
Oh yeah, married. Recently got married.
I like your Freudian switch. So he is the type of dude that takes advantage. I don't even want to talk about it because it's like what he's saying, but never mind. I think it's funny when she does the Freudian slip and he talks about having a boy on the way. His wife's pregnant, for Christ's sakes. And he's doing all this crap. And he says something and it doesn't really matter what he said, but he's talking about having, a boy coming and she does the Freudian slip. Oh, did you say unfortunately? Oh my God.
Kid due on the way in August.
Oh.
Imagine later on his wife when she finds this stuff out.
Oh, God.
Imagine how
What
shocked.
about the kid?
She's gonna
The
have to be
kid's
raising
not
this kid
even
alone.
born yet. And
Okay. Boy, girl.
and
Boy.
in high school.
Um,
Oh, wasn't your daddy that pig ChoMo?
unfortunately. Where are you?
I mean, that's change your last name. Well, the baby's not even born yet, so he never has to change his name. The wife needs to freaking immediately kibosh that marriage, and then they need to move. And what a freaking... And I mean, there you are, man. 5-0, yo, please.
Hoping for.
And how this investigator, knowing how she can keep this light attitude, knowing what the gravity of what she's going to be asking.
Oh no, I said looking forward to
Oh, looking forward. I thought you said unfortunately.
No, I'm excited.
Okay, that's cool. And your wife, how long have you known her?
Actually, preschool.
So in my mind's eye, if I'm this cop, I'm like, what the hell are you asking me all these questions for? I mean, he's a cop. He should know.
Yeah, we met in preschool in separate ways. Met her back in high school. Things like I was trying to date her, but she
Well, I mean, to be fair, they haven't told him jack shit, and I'm fine with that. I mean, our government railroads people all the time for all kinds of shit. If you don't believe me, just research the dude who created and started Reddit. That dude. Google that. Find out what that dude's name was, and find out how, what happened the year prior to him shooting himself.
playing it hard to get again. Then college came around, tried to get in, and actually ran into her in PB about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And yeah, we reconnected then.
The new system seems great.
And I hear you're.
I have dropped 225 frames.
Got married, got a good job, got married,
0.6%.
bought a house, had a kid. I mean, he's building, right?
And look, this isn't really an ad. I don't. I'm just talking about. Just talking about what I'm using. So this thing here is stupid simple to set up. It uses Docker, so it'll run on Windows or whatever. And basically, and it's kind of wonky because you gotta get all these set up, and then they go live. Maybe that's why you have to schedule it. Maybe schedule it out in 10 minutes. I gotta figure this out, but it basically, you have a computer, you have OBS that goes to this server, and the server feeds it out to the various services. So like right now I'm streaming to Twitter, Rumble, and YouTube all at the same time. And by using this server, and you could actually use something, and I'm again not recommending this service. It's just not one of the major ones like Microsoft, and there's a lot of these clouds. And the only reason why I brought this one up, I'm not even going to say their name because I'm not endorsing them or nothing, but they actually will charge for the hour, okay? And it's dirt cheap. And like I said, you type this command in, and you got to go to the GitHub for the actual command. Let's see, issue on GitHub, and then you just go to this here, and there's, now if you don't need GPU, and I don't have GPU going on, and if you're going to be using like any type of service like this, unless you get one, and I don't even know if they have it, high performance, yeah, so I don't see GPU, NVA. Okay, so these are GPU. So unless you are renting something like this, now this is actually pretty reasonable because you can spin this up. It takes maybe a couple minutes, and then have like the Debian or Ubuntu, and within five minutes or so you can have this server running, and you can be paying 13 cents an hour to go live for 2 or 3 hours, and you're only paying less than $1, okay? But what this gives you is, let's say you have a slow internet connection, instead of streaming times 3, one for each service or however many times, you're streaming from your laptop to the internet always times 1. So you always reduce your overhead. Now I have a mobile situation, so I have to rely on internet from cellular bands or satellite, so everything's more difficult wireless.
Be careful when you build that you don't have something in there that will just knock it right down.
So about the schedule change.
Yeah. 7, 12
Who cares?
kills you. 7 off is nice, but it flies by, so.
Yeah, and then the 7th
this
drag
douchebag.
once you're here. So at least you're on your last day today, right?
I mean,
This entire
That is probably his last day.
discussion.
I mean, this dude is like the epitome of humanity. Not only does he represent what's supposed to be order and hypocrite. So I think somewhere in here he said he was a prison guard. Oh,
Is important
It
because it will
gets
create
so
a
good
pattern
for
of
him.
events that could lead to a bigger crime. First, she establishes the background, and now she moves on to the place where the crime happened, social media.
So, how about social media? Are you active on social media at all?
Facebook and Instagram. Had Snapchat back in the day, got rid of that with my wife. We got caught being capping with her and some stuff, but
Can you tell me about that, or?
I mean, it was with another recruit captain, but
We cheated on his wife.
Okay. So you're communicating with another recruit.
I was back in, I stopped, everything got cut off, got rid of, I mean, I didn't delete the Snapchat, I just got delete the app, so I haven't used it for like, 2.
So on Facebook, because I like to jot down everybody's social media when I can. What's your Facebook login? Like your
This
username?
guy does do good work and makes good videos, man.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if
and
I'm
then you
gonna be able to
said
find it.
Instagram? Is that
I should have guessed.
What's
Made,
Remember what I said about what you do online? It's a permanent record. I mean, and so you can go back and get just about anything.
what's your
that's what I
Instagram
was
name?
saying. So uninstalling some shit don't mean
Now
nothing.
that it's just inch by inch by inch. How this guy doesn't at this point just get up and walk away? Because he has to know. How does he not know where they're going? Is he that much of a dolt?
And then you said you got rid of Snapchat, but when you did,
Pedo in jail? You talk
Yeah.
about somebody being completely at risk? That's it.
At risk? No.
so the one that you had there, has that account since been deleted or just
That one,
deactivated?
just delete the app. I think it's still there.
Okay. And I know when it comes to Facebook, you connected to an email address. Do you know what email?
Common thing. So he looks a little bit younger there. Looks like he could be in high school, and that would be the perfect bait.
Site?
I think it was Snapchat back in the day. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have you ever shared?
This is also a common investigative technique where you just repeat everything the person said.
Maybe some other girls you were talking to? Or
Where's the part about you talking about Miranda?
Picture here was the first piece of evidence. The interrogator can't download pictures of each other on Snapchat unless you
Oh, who
act.
cares?
Somebody underage. You're soliciting sex for somebody who's underage, and that's illegal. It's a felony.
Based on Jalen's, can tell that he's now realizing where this is going.
your schedule?
Only applies where there's in custody.
There we go.
interrogation.
We're
Finally.
investigating allegations.
And one might ask, should he be Mirandized?
Yes.
No. Why not?
Yes.
Because he's in.
You
not
haven't
in
heard it
custody.
yet.
Miranda only applies.
He's not
when
in
there's
custody?
interrogation.
That's
There's
bullshit.
interrogation, but he was told
No,
he's free to leave,
that's
so you don't
a
have to advise him of his
interrogative detention. Here's why. Everything he just said is bullshit. Because, right, where's the piece of paper? Oh, he's got the piece of paper. Okay, here we go.
The next step, however, I'm going to go ahead and pull some documents here for you. So there are a few steps that we're going to be taking after this. Again, you are not
No,
being
no.
detained by us or anything,
No,
but
no,
we
no,
are
no.
acting
They already have this in hand.
on behalf of the court moving forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you're acting on behalf of the court, are you?
So I will give you a chance to read through this. This is
And these cases aren't cheap, and a young guy like this can't afford somebody like me. I can.
Are you worth it, though? Are you worth it? Did you catch this? Is this you holding back? Or did you not get it?
Guarantee you that.
So I will give you a chance to read through this. This is a search warrant.
And like I said, nothing I'm saying supports the student in any way, shape, or form. This whole interview wasn't needed. I'm pointing this out, one, to criticize the lawyers so that under the federal law, you know, Consumer Fairness Review Act, I get to do that. Now, I haven't retained his services ever, and like he said, I couldn't afford him. But it's just that you get to review a person's demeanor and conduct, okay? And he has decided to go out on YouTube. And I mean, I subscribe to this dude. I like his work. I like his work with audit to audit better than I like audit to audit's work. These two make a great presentation. In fact, I'm starting to like him more than the civil rights lawyer. Or, you know, this is a civil rights lawyer too. I'm just saying, in my endorsement of this guy don't mean shit. I'm not a lawyer, none of that. But let me just explain to you something. That piece of paper he was just handed is.
What? I thought you were just being my friend.
Oh, that shit don't matter. We're not talking about that. What does that have to do with anything? That is the wrong thought. That's like a joke.
So they serve him with a search warrant so they can.
They got a search warrant and in hand, and they set up a meeting, and he voluntarily came in, and they're about to take his cell phone. So this is all bullshit. He was detained from the get-go because he would never be able to leave that situation without providing his phone. He was in custody the moment he showed up, and his shit was in custody. In fact, part of the search warrant is for...
Look through his phone.
Was granted this afternoon by a judge. The warrant.
See? This afternoon, 1855 minus 2. That can't be right. Why would they be doing this at 6:55? Oh, he's night shift. He just came on at night. He hasn't even come on yet. Right? He said he was 7 to 7 or something.
Does allow us to grab some DNA swabs from you.
See? DNA warrant in hand. That fucking dude has been in custody the whole time.
Uh-oh. That's even worse. Because if they want DNA, that means he met up with her.
No. Well, yeah, and so let him burn. But legally, he's been in custody since the moment they saw him. Anyways, I don't like dealing with this kind of subject. I just had that part. I had to say that. So, I mean, like I said, I like this dude. And I don't know him. I've never talked to him or none of that. He don't know I'm clicking on his page. I've never looked at none of this stuff. I mean, sure. I gotta say, I don't like his branding. I mean, have like a unified brand. Like, you know, the CLR thing maybe could be some sort of iconic brand. SSS, stop self-snitching. Now that's part of branding there. So he's the slogan goes with, I'm talking about a visual brand. Like his shit's all over the place. And then this bonfire thing was probably convenient and easy, and it integrates with Face or YouTube, or there's probably a lot of reasons for using this, but you know, you can link probably just to these pages, and you could have a front end. Yeah, I probably would have done that a little bit different on the branding. It's just all over the place on that. But like I said, I don't know about this Patreon. Now he's a lawyer, so assumingly he knows more about it than me. But see, he says, and I'm sure it's in here, I haven't checked yet, but oh, no disclaimers. Wow. There's no disclaimers. Well, I like that. Don't give a fuck. But criminal lawyer reactions. 11 posts. You have to pay $562.08 a month, or that's what he's getting. Okay, that's what he's getting. So he's got 100-ish people. As a lawyer, I don't know. I wouldn't even take that risk. for 500 bucks a month, 5 grand, say 7 grand a year minus taxes, and now you have some sort of contractual basis with people, and you're a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but I wouldn't mess these shit up like that. Cram soundboard. Oh, so this is the background music. I don't know. SoundCloud. Is it free to air? It doesn't show more. I mean, and he might just have hooked up something with a deal, but, and that's probably what he did. This stuff looks all copyrighted to me, just presumption. So some of the music, and I didn't even hear any music. It must be low down there. You know, so I'm gonna push it a little bit because I don't monetize anything anyways. I just don't want to get copyright struck. If this guy gets the ad revenue for my videos or something like that, I'm all for it. I don't want no money from none of these videos. I'm just...
Look at this line.
Huh. I'm just curious. I can't play enough. Bagged him. Wow. Wow. And this dude only got 12 or 15 years or something like that. That's that back to blue. Anyways, I needed to test the new set